Assalamualaikum. Welcome to the very first weekly Sadakayan program organized by Quantum Meditation Society London of 2025. New Year is a time when we start thinking more about the future rather than the past. We want to create things new, we make resolutions. Today, we are going to think about what we really want from life. The resolutions we have made or people make, do we do that because that is what we have really decided that we want from our life, or do we just do that because those are the things people around us just think about? In quantum, we are trying to attain what we called total fitness. I will explain what that means in a second, but let's go back to thinking about what we really want for life. If I think about it, I think about the time I will be at the end of this phase of my cosmic journey when I am about to leave my mortal body. When that moment comes, am I going to be satisfied? Am I going to be able to say to myself, honestly, that I have experienced what I wanted to experience. I have done what I wanted to do. I have no regrets, and now I can move on to the next phase of my cosmic journey happily. How many people are really able to do that? And those of us who are still here in this earthly dimension still chance of asking ourselves that question and designing ourselves, designing our lives in alignment with the answer we have when we ask ourselves that question. If you're like me, if you're like most human beings, you would probably want a fulfilling life. You would probably want to experience joy and fulfillment. You would also want to experience love. You would want to experience the fulfillment of contributing. You would want to experience success. You would also want to leave some kind of trace on this world through your contributions. And you would want to go through this journey with a healthy body. That's our vehicle. That's the vehicle of our soul on this cosmic journey. So we can't ignore that. And you'd probably want the abundance to experience so that you're able to experience the things you want to experience. So all those things are great things, but how can we actually get them? How can we actually experience the feelings of joy and health and abundance and success and fulfillment and love? When we think about fitness, we usually think about Okay, we're back. So we were talking about total fitness, and when we usually think about the word fitness, we think about somebody with a lot of muscle, somebody who spends a lot of time in the gym. But if by fitness we only mean attaining certain bodily proportions, your waist being certain inches, your hips being certain inches, or your muscles being a certain way, then that in itself cannot take us forward that much in life. Not only will you be unfulfilled in many areas of your life, even your physical health will not be at its optimum, at its prime, if you look at it as just something physical. In the past few decades, 3 decades, 4 decades, there have been many studies, many explorations which have shown conclusively our mind and our body, our emotions and our body, our physical health and our mental emotional health, our social health, our spiritual health are all interconnected. If you are lonely, for example, that loneliness will have a negative impact on your body in an amount that's equal to the negative impact of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Yet, we may be spending more and more time in the gym. Studies show that we are having less and less and less people in our life who we can really talk to, who we can really be vulnerable with. We can really share our innermost thoughts and fears and aspirations with. Again, if you are maybe you have a very lot of time in the gym, even then, if there is the spiritual dimension of your life is absent, you will feel the lack of something, exactly what is missing in your life. But on a quiet morning, or if you wake up in the middle of the night when you don't have your usual devices, your social media, your other stuff, your Netflix, or all the stuff that you distract yourself with, when you're just with yourself, if you have that moment when you're just so in quantum, when we say total fitness, we usually mean the combination of four things: physical fitness, mental emotional fitness, social fitness or relational fitness, and finally, spiritual fitness. Physical fitness, when we talk about physical fitness, as we just mentioned, we don't necessarily mean what the proportions of your body are or whether your weight fit is within a range. The way to actually measure how physically fit you are is to see how long you can keep on working without feeling tired. How long can you be active, whether it is intellectually active, physically active, or active in any other way without being without feeling like I can't go on anymore, I can't keep my focus anymore, I am too tired to do this. And even when you think of this parameter, I think you will understand it will, you will feel like, no, I can't do that just by building muscles. For that, to meet that criteria of physical fitness, you Okay, we are back again. So we were talking about total fitness, and we talked a little bit about physical fitness and how the best way to understand how physically fit you are is to look at how long you can keep on working without feeling tired. We're now moving on to the second aspect of total fitness, which is your mental, emotional fitness or your psychological fitness. This is a really, really, really important part of your overall fitness. And when someone I measure how psychologically fit someone is by their resilience. It's not that a mentally, emotionally fit person never gets sad, they never get discouraged, they never face any troubles in life, but someone who is psychologically fit can usually bounce back fairly quickly without getting stuck in a negative state. They can, on the whole, they are optimistic about their lives. They have something to look forward to in their lives. They can usually appreciate the present moment. They can appreciate the little things in their life. On the whole, this is a person, when you're around them, you will feel a positive vibe. Even though, of course, they're human beings, they will be experiencing the full range of human emotions, but they are people who can bounce back from setbacks uh, with their optimism intact, maybe even strengthened. So that is mental emotional fitness. The third aspect is key and something that we are not really looking at enough, and something that the data suggests we are actually getting worse at, and that is our social fitness or our relational fitness. In today's world, we are supposedly way more connected, and at a surface level, we have thousands of social media connections, thousands of connections on whether it is TikTok or Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or whatever it is that the I may not even be up to date on social media platforms, names of social media platforms, but whatever it is that you mostly use, you probably have thousands of friends, you may have millions of followers, but if you answer simple things, all who will leave whatever they're doing and go with me to the hospital. If I feel depressed or helpless, do I have a friend to call, or do I have to get a paid therapist? Good question to ask yourself. Therapists are fine, but these type of roles where a large part of our emotional needs used to be met by our circle, and the therapist should be the extra, right? So, but if you ask that, like someone you can talk to about anything, how many people do you have who you can talk to about, with whom you can talk to about anything? What's your answer? So, what the data suggests is that that number is becoming less and less and less and less with time. We don't have people we can really talk to. And as a consequence, we are becoming lonelier and lonelier. So a physically fit person, a relationally fit person, a socially fit person is someone who knows how to create healthy relationships, whether it is within their family, whether they're the children, the offspring, they're the spouse, or they're the parents, or they're a friend, or whether even if they are simply a member of a community. Your relationships are just not your friends and family. You are also a member of a community. And studies show where these communal relationships are strong, people live the longest. You may have heard of the blue zones, where there is a significant amount of people who live above 100. The percentage of people who live above 100 is significantly higher than other parts of the world. In these areas, for example, in Okinawa, in Japan, and there are a bunch of other areas, the communities are the community bonds are very strong. When somebody's older, there is a niece, there's a neighbor who is always visiting on them, because that is just how their community works. So are you someone who is able to create that kind of community? And are you someone who is that person to someone else? Are you that person who someone else can call in the middle of the night, who someone else can call when they're sick and they have no one to go with them to the hospital, who someone else can call when they're feeling down, who someone else can call when they're feeling vulnerable, or maybe they just have a dream and they don't trust people to share it with because the other people might discourage them. So are you the person who they feel safe in sharing that dream with? That you need to create that inner security, that relationship with yourself, when you are accepting and at ease with yourself. That is when you can be at ease around other people. And then moving on to the fourth part of total fitness, that which is spiritual fitness. As I mentioned earlier, you can have all of these things. You can be optimistic, but you can do everything that you know to attain physical fitness. You might be exercising, you may be eating well, you may do other intermittent fasting, detoxing, so on and so forth. Emotionally, mentally, you may have learned about, being grateful. So you have a gratitude journal. Emotionally, you are trying to make time to connect with the people around you. Even after doing all of these things, if you are ignoring the spiritual dimension of your life, ignoring your soul. And we use the soul, we throw this word everywhere, but what does that mean? It just means that dimension of us that is free from the limitations of this perishable physical existence, and and the limitations were a perishable, and the isolation, because it is this physical existence that makes us think that we're separate from everything and everyone, but our soul knows that we're a part of a bigger whole. So unless you are doing that and you're trying to align yourself with the bigger whole, whatever you call this bigger law, you may call it natural law. In quantum, we say that whatever you call it doesn't matter, because you're actually trying to connect to the same energy, the same being, the ultimate entity. So unless you you're trying to connect to that, you and you have established some sort of alignment with that, you will feel something is missing, and that will affect the other aspects of your fitness. That will affect your level of gratitude. Even with, even though you're writing every day, you will reach a ceiling of gratefulness. You won't be able to feel gratefulness beyond a certain point. You will reach a ceiling of optimism. You won't be able to be positive beyond a certain point unless you have that that relationship with the universe. Many of us are quite religious. We are very observant. We try to um, practice the rituals of our particular religion, which is an absolutely great thing. But doing just that wouldn't be doing justice to our relationship to the whole. The other part of it is to be giving. To be spiritually evolved means that we are able to move on from I to us. We are nicer people. We are becoming more, um, behavior is becoming more not, kinder and wiser and nicer. We are, we feel in our heart to standards, we feel the urge to share it. We feel the urge to give from whatever we have, whether that is giving money, whether that is giving our time, whether that is giving our company. We are we feel the urge to do that. We feel the urge to share and to give. And that is what strengthens our relationship with the bigger whole. So if we develop these four kinds of fitness, then when that moment comes, when it's time for us to move on to the next phase of our cosmic journey, hopefully, or let's say confidently, we will be in a position where we can say, like, yes, we have done what we could do, we have experienced what we wanted to experience, we have contributed what we want to contribute, and now we are ready to move on to the next phase of our cosmic journey. We're ready to move on and blend in with the universe. So that is a lot. How do we begin? We can begin with little things. So physical fitness, begin at the beginning. What's the beginning? Breath. What's the first thing you do when you come to this world that you were not doing before? Breathing. So let's start with proper breathing, expansive breathing. So it's very simple. Breathe in and then expand your chest area as much as it would expand. Like, don't hold yourself back. Don't take up less space. Let yourself take up space, and think all the positive energy from the universe, the positive cosmic energy is entering you. And then you breathe out with your mouth and think that all physical, mental, emotional, relational, spiritual toxins are getting out of your body. You're detoxifying yourself at every level, at a cellular level, and not just material level, but also energetic. Do this 20 times in a row, mindfully, intentionally, and then do these series 20 breath sets 5 or 6 times a day. Just start with that. Just start with that. If you can do that for a few days, do it for 21 days. And if you don't feel like a different person in your body, then I will be very surprised. I couldn't come up with a better better thing to say. So that's physical fitness. Mentally, emotionally, just make a conscious decision to focus on the positive, and not only the positive in your surroundings, the positives in you yourself. Be kinder to yourself. Write down all the strengths you have, and then just try to focus on the positive. Relationally, simple. We're talking about, our place in our community. Just be the first person to greet another person when you meet them. If you're going to to a shop, if you're crossing a neighbor on the streets or even a random stranger. I mean, be a little careful because some people don't take these things nicely. But if you think that they're accepting, be the first person to smile, the first person to say good morning, the first person to shake hands, the first person to say assalamu alaikum, whatever is appropriate in your surrounding. So be the first person to greet another person. Just practice this. Like when I go grocery shopping today, I'm going to smile and say good morning, or I'm going to smile and say hello to the person behind the till. Yeah. And then number 4 is to just to for spiritual fitness, just try to give. Like think of like one little thing that you give, a certain amount of money that you can give on a regular basis. So lean into your faith and try to think of one little thing that you can give. And if you do these things, hopefully you will go towards attaining total fitness step by step. Our lives are so valuable, like we when we are come as babies, when we're children, we dream so big, we experience so much, we laugh so much, we are so much more creative, we think so much more flexibly. But then as we get older, everything becomes habitual. We deep down, we resign ourselves to a smaller, less expansive life, a smaller version of ourselves. But the truth is, every second that we're alive, we get a new chance. And if we do it the wise way, we can gradually create a more and more and more and more satisfying life. So that is our topic for today, total fitness. We hope this gives you a sense of what it is that we have to cultivate in ourselves to create the life that most of us want. And that you take steps towards cultivating those qualities. Okay, so that is our talk for today. I apologize for my connectivity problems. I will look into this deeply. This has been happening um, for the past few weeks. I don't know why this is happening because it's not happening at other times in my other devices. I will look into this, but I do apologize for all the breaks today. And now we're going to move on to our meditation for that day. We'll be doing the happiness meditation. I think it will go very nicely with today's topics. As always, please give me a second to play the meditation. And if there's any problem, please let me know in the chat. I will be extra vigilant today because of the connectivity problems.